I gotta tell you this story, if you're really ugly.
I'm Lowell Bowler.
My name is Bill Knowles.
Hi, my name's Kenny.
Name's Robert Long.
This is a hammer.
You have a name.
Jim Dyke.
Jim Dyke. Jim Dyke.
Jim Dyke.
Jim
Dyke. Jim Dyke. It's Jim Dyke. I gotta tell you this story.
This is his 20th year here.
Time out at the Missouri State Fair and everybody else.
If you're really ugly, it's free. And most people see the humor in it and laugh at it. You would be surprised at the people I meet here at the fair over the last 20 years. And I met Bob when he was like maybe 10 or 12.
You never see that movie?
Bob was really impressive because he would run around the fair looking for jobs to help people, and people would put him to work because he's a good worker.
Been out here for years helping my grandpa with corn dog stands.
But then there's other people. There's the guy at the corn dog stand down the street, although he's still known by our little group as Corn Dog Guy.
That's how he knows me, the corn dog guy.
He works for the water district here.
I made corn dogs for about 14 years.
He has a twin brother and they don't get along.
Before work, going to work, I would be talking to him every day. And there would always be an interesting conversation somehow or another.
And then there's the red shirt guy who comes down every Tuesday.
He accused me, I'm a little bit unsure of why, of always wearing red shirts.
For the last 20 years that I've been here, stops and talks and tells long-winded stories.
All right, my name is Bill Maxwell.
One of his shirts from chest up is black, has a real Western look, and has hot peppers on it.
I see him here, I've not missed in 20 years, and he said this is his 20th year here.
Then there's Jeremy.
It's funny because on the newspaper the phrase is "from Russia with love."
Jeremy and his brother Jeffrey were adopted a long time ago from Russia. Oh yeah, Jim Mathewson. I know Jim Mathewson from just through work at the newspaper, learned who some of the senators are.
Hi, my name's Jim Mathewson. I had the honor of being the state senator.
And he was real friendly.
Jim has been a very important part of it. Number one, he is an excellent caricature artist.
He comes out here to check on me. And
I go by there in the mornings about 7 o'clock and holler.
he told me all about the foundation.
With the State Fair Foundation. It's all volunteer.
So I've donated some of my prints of the state capitol and the mansion, and those have auctioned off for $800 before.
But my name is Sharon Kirkhoff and I live in Jefferson City.
But Sharon is just a sunshiny person.
I meet such wonderful people, and one of these people was Jim.
And she said, I'm not a rich person. I just find a way throughout the year to save up enough money so I can come down and help out.
And give of yourself and you'll get nothing but blessings.
I've just known her from the year she worked in Springfield, Missouri, lives there.
We just started talking a couple years ago. I liked his drawings, and then I found out that he's an artist, and he jogs past me every morning. And we just talk once in a while. That's about all I can say. Except, yes, I am going to say, my boss teases me when I say yes. He makes my heart pitter-patter when he comes by jogging in his shorts.
Did I miss anybody?
My name is Travis McMullen. I am an opinion columnist for the newspaper here in Sedalia called the Sedalia Democrat. One day I was walking by and he called me over and he told me that I looked like an interesting person to draw.
I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
How long have I known you, Hammer?
20 years. 20 freaking years.
Say it.
20 freaking years.
All right.
He's been up here at the fair and
It's my buddy Hammer. It's hammer time here in the state of Missouri. It's hammer down time.
this is a hammer. Hey, this is hammer down time.
Hammer time. It's hammer down time.
And I'll tell you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run for mayor. That was about hammer.
I've been at a fair a long time, and I recognize ugly when I see it. I'm gonna guess. I've had at least 20 people come up today, just today, to say hi to me and to say they read my cartoons. So while I'm at the state fair, I try to keep doing the cartoons, and I turned it into a situation where I based them on state fair background and political or national ideas and concepts, though, and then I autographed them reporting live from the Missouri State Fair. I think the way I got involved in doing caricatures when I was little, you remember the dog patch area at the Lake of the Ozark? There was a guy sitting at this little pavilion thing doing caricatures, and so I remember that from when I was a kid. Dad would take us over there and we'd stop and watch and look at that, isn't that cool? And that might be why I like it. As much as my dad and I don't get along, or didn't. But as I look back, many of the things that he pointed at like that, I find that that's the kind of stuff I'm doing now. And I would hate to admit it, but it's probably true.
One of the most popular stops around is a visit with Jim Dykes. He's a great guy. He knows how to talk to fair people, and even better, knows how to draw fair people. He's one of our good friends at the fair, and we're always thrilled to have him here.
And one year I had a guy and a girl wanted me to draw them both, but only one person in the picture, and half the face was him, half the face was her.
That's weird.
It was weird. And then another guy wanted me to draw them like a, this was just a couple of years ago, like a zombie, and have like their flesh eaten up and their blood running down places. The grandpa came up one year and he says, "Can you draw my granddaughter? She's not here, and no, I don't have a photo. I'm just going to tell you what she looks like."
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did it because he came back, because I was telling him.
I might have been here.
Well, I think you were here when he came back, because a year or two later, the guy came over and he said, you probably don't remember me, but I had you draw my granddaughter and she wasn't here. I just told you what she looked like. Well, I was like, dude, I tell that story all the time.
Yeah.
I know, I remember.
And the man says, well, you'd be surprised how much she's grown into the picture. And Peter says, really, does she have like a freaky big head and a little body? But so started with the phone call out of the blue looking for Amanda Dyke, wrong number, coincidence, last name. Then a few days later I'm actually at the fair. She's the state fair queen and singing the national anthem. I thought that was crazy. I shave on the way from the booth to park my truck behind the chicken barn. This guy and his girlfriend sat down and they wanted to be drawn, and this buddy that was with him was like, he comes over and he goes, "I cannot believe you're paying this dude money to do this." And he was not joking, he was being insulting. And then the whole time I was drawing, I could hear him behind me making wisecracks and stuff. Before the whole thing was over, he was like, "This is really cool." Mark Pohl that I met 20 years ago at the state fair doing caricatures. And the caricature on the side of the truck, it's the caricature I did of him.
But everybody out here is having a great time. The kids are having a super great time. I'm just happy for the kids, and I'm happy.
She takes care of me, helps little old ladies out. That's good.
They have their kids to go out and have a great time out at the Missouri State Fair.
But this was the first year, and it was the Friday night, the first Friday of the fair. But anyways, so the storm came, the truck was stuck in the mud, all kinds of things were going wrong, and the tent was filling up with water on the top, this PVC pipe tent that I made, and we came back. So I took my truck out that night while it was raining. I couldn't draw, so I just got in the truck and drove around Sedalia, and I was so stressed out by the whole thing that I thought, I think I'm just gonna get back on the highway, leave my stuff there, and go home and forget it. And that's what I felt like. But I didn't do it. I went back and I sat there by myself in the rain amongst all these strangers at the fair and people I didn't know anybody there. It was just a sad night, and I slept in the tent alone by myself, whatever. But I got up and kept going, and ended up being one of the funnest, most adventurous things I've ever done. The days following that were really great, and I met some really great people and had really good times. And had I given up, that would have never happened. So I just said, mental note to myself, it might seem like all is lost right now, but just hang in there and keep going. I started out going to the state fair. It was another place I could draw caricatures and a place to make some extra money. But I don't think that the money has anything to do with it at all now, really. I mean, I guess it has to some point. I'm getting paid for this 17 hours a day working. But anyways, the fair it's a challenge. There's something interesting about leaving my regular comfortable life and doing something totally different. It's not a vacation by any means, but there are things about it that can be really, really challenging and difficult, very much so. And maybe even more so if you're there alone by yourself. You don't have any support system or whatever, other than your good friends that are around you and whatever, but you try not to bother them. Sitting down in the chair and drawing people and having the skill, you develop a skill to do that, that is completely the last thing on the list that you have to worry about. You have to deal with the weather, you have to deal with people driving you crazy, you have to deal with all the procedures you have to go through, signing the contract and paying the money and whatever to get there and setting up the tent. A couple times where there weren't even any clouds in the sky and we had strong enough wind to tear down the tent for no apparent reason. It just happened. And so you never know from time to time, or there could be a fight break out on a Friday night at the Budweiser tent right behind you and a cowboy gets thrown over the fence and into my tent. A big storm 2 years ago tore up everything, and we couldn't even open until 4 or 5 o'clock the next day because they had to pick up tree limbs and stuff. But anyways, that night I went in there into the basement and hung out. They evacuated everybody from the campgrounds to the exposition center 2 nights in a row. I ended up hanging out at the command center for the storm watch. Anyhow, I spent the night, I got tired of watching it. Went upstairs, I had a blanket and a pillow, cuddled up in the corner next to the front door of the administration building, the old administration building.
Somebody bet on the bay, wandering all night, whoa, wandering all day. I bet my money on a bobtail nag, somebody bet on the bay.
I came up with the idea for the sign that says, if you're really ugly, it's free. Because I went to this, my first outdoor festival, and my friend Jason wanted to go along, and so he was going to draw too. And we went to Bland, Missouri, and I said, Jason, I ought to make a sign that says, if you're really ugly, it's free. And he thought it wasn't nice either, and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I did. And so ever since that day, I have had a sign at my caricature booth that says, if you're really ugly, it's free. Sometimes I actually do draw people for free. I do it kind of as a joke because the sign says that, but I will look around for somebody that I want to draw, like maybe they have missing teeth and a big beard or some unusual thing that I just really want to draw. Well, I plan to keep drawing at the state fair until somebody stops me, you know, like the tornado or quake or something like that, or I just, you know, expire. But even then I have plans for a bronze sculpture of myself sitting there on that spot with my drawing easel and everything just as I said, right there. So I guess forever I plan to be there, either a real person or my sculpture.
Missouri State Fairgrounds.
And then one year there was this gigantic rectangle-shaped blow-up thing sponsored by Budweiser. Had a video camera, projected a concert, a Dave Matthews concert. And that balloon square thing would collapse and then falling over my tent. And I'm drawing people and they're sitting there going, hey. I'm like, it's okay. It won't hurt anything, just let it go. So then for the next 20-30 minutes I have to listen to Viagra jokes. I'm like, what the hell kind of question is that? One year I got some kind of egg poisoning. I think it was from the eggs. I'm not sure. But I had this intestinal problem. Serious, major diarrhea, stomach cramps, sick as a dog. The entire fair. But 11 days of that, you're supposed to have gone to the doctor already. But somehow I sat there through the entire day drawing with huge lines of people, and I can remember sitting there just about to cry. But I can't leave because I'm doing this and I gotta be here. But whatever, somehow I just kept going. The short way to describe it is hell.
I'm good.
Did I tell you about that when it was happening? Oh, jeez, that was awful. Can I go up there? Can I go up there next year? Because there's all these people standing around by the bud tent drinking and whatever. I could be drawing them. Why did they let me move up there? In the back of my mind, I reasoned out they must have let me do that because maybe they reasoned out it would be nice to have a family-friendly type thing right there to occupy the kids and whoever.
But it's all true, and that incident in our county took place in 1969. And the people that are involved, not all the witnesses, but the
James, you gotta get this guy on film.
Which guy? Will you draw me nude?
Yeah, why not?
Well, all right, we'll get your clothes off.
This guy, okay, good.
You're gonna be nude, not me.
This guy, being nude, but the police have already gotten on me for running shirtless.
I knew it.
Hey,
don't do that anymore.
Hold still. James, this guy right here is with the co-op, the electric co-op. And I always get somebody coming by to ask for a strange, weird caricature. And he sat down one time and he goes, I have a twin brother. And we look pretty much alike, except he didn't have a beard or something.
Right, he has a beard and I didn't.
Yeah, and so he sits down and I draw him, then he switched angles and I drew him as his brother. I just drew him, yes.
Yeah,
I
told him to draw me
and then
twice.
I drew him again.
But the catch was my brother. He had to put flies buzzing around him, so we knew which one was him. So that's how they could tell them apart. Hey, we gotta go. We're gonna go catch the pig races. So I'll see you guys.
It was right before a concert, and people had been online waiting for it. And the sky got real dark and everything. And coming out of this direction, the wind just started blowing. And it was really one of the more visually scary storms because stuff was just flying, just stuff in the air. Papers and all kinds of stuff way up and just flying this way. And I saw people kind of screaming and running and people pushing their baby strollers into, of all places, the big Budweiser tent. Like that's a safe place to go in the storm. What the hell kind of question is that? I have families that come with their kids and they say, my parents brought me here to be drawn when I was a little kid and now I'm bringing my kid to you. And I'm like, first of all, shut up because I'm not that old. That's what I'm thinking in my head, first of all. And then No, I appreciate the business though. I don't really mean shut up. You know what I'm saying?
This is great here at the Missouri State Fair. Everybody's having a good time, and we hopefully hope it don't rain or snow.
What was Hammer talking about?
What was Hammer talking about?
Hammer, I forgot. Why do they call you Hammer?
Ass kicker, middle linebacker for Smith Cotton. I pancaked this guy from Marshall, Missouri, and our coach said that we're going to call you the Hammer because they had a football player up at Kansas City. His name was Freddie the Hammer, and he was a ass-kicking middle linebacker. I was a butt-kicking linebacker, so I got the name of the Hammer there, and I thought it would just fizzle out after high school, but man, it just more people knows me by Hammer than my real name.
What was Hammer talking about?
What was Hammer talking about?
You know, we're going to make Sedalia a better town. I'm going to run for mayor. You don't know what time it is. Hammer down time. Hammer down time. You don't know what time it is. Hey, this is Hammer down time. You don't know what time it is.
Hammer time. It's Hammer down time.
This is the Hammer. We're having a good time out at the Missouri State Fair, and everybody else, I give you hope and let you feel appreciated. Have a good day, and Hammer says, we love you all. Bye.